So, for our next lesson, we'll be covering the big three macronutrients. That's fat, carbs, and protein. And as you can see, we have our handy dandy nutrition facts label right here. And towards the top under calories, you can see where fat is listed. And that's usually broken down with saturated fat, unsaturated fat, further sometimes described as poly or monounsaturated fat. And then the nasty trans fat is also usually listed there. I think it's actually legally required to be listed there nowadays. And then you have total carbohydrates a little further down, and that includes fiber, sugars, added sugars. I don't think they describe fiber as soluble or insoluble anymore, but that might be on there. Oh, this, by the way, is a new nutrition facts label that's recently gone into effect, and it probably won't be on every single food product for like another year, but this is what the Food and Drug Administration has issued this year as the new nutrition facts label. I don't know if you can tell, but the calories part is a lot bigger for obvious reasons. And then the third one is protein, and that's at the bottom, and I think we all are pretty familiar with protein. So starting with fat, it's our main energy reserve. It's what we store on our bodies, obviously around our belly and our thighs, and it's our main source of energy. It's also involved in regulation and transport functions throughout the body and our physiology. The three major types are saturated, unsaturated, and trans. Just as a general rule, saturated and trans are unhealthy and unsaturated fats are healthier. So unsaturated fats would be like fats from avocado, fat from olive oil, coconut oil, things of that nature. And its energy density is 9 calories per gram, which is the highest energy density out of the three big macros. So carbohydrates. It's a fast energy source. It's what your body needs when it needs energy fast. If it's if it's in flight or fight mode, essentially, carbohydrates are what would be a preferable source of energy in that it is fast absorbing and it spikes your energy a lot more than fat does. Fat is more like steady, slow absorbing long-term energy. Carbohydrates are important for digestive health, obviously with fibers and complex carbs help with our intestinal digestion. And the three types are simple, which is your glucose, your fructose, sucrose, things like that. Complex carbs are your starches, and fiber are the indigestible carbs. It is worth noting that on a nutrition facts label, total carbohydrates includes fiber, but fiber you don't digest and absorb fiber. It's kind of just a material that passes through your system through pooping and so you don't absorb it, so it's not a source of energy. So technically, when you are counting calories and counting your macros, you can subtract fiber out of your calculations because your body's not breaking it down and using it for energy. Carbohydrates energy density is 4 calories per gram, which is less than half of fat. Last but not least, protein. Now, protein is made up of amino acids, which are building blocks for our cells. You probably heard a lot that when you work out or when you lift weights, your muscle tissue actually breaks down, and the reason we need protein is because we need those amino acids to go in and replace and add new muscle tissue and repair existing muscle tissue from our workouts, and that's how we build muscle essentially. We also need there's a few essential amino acids that we don't produce ourselves that we need to get from dietary sources. Probably should have included that here, but that's a lesson for another time. So they also act as enzymes, and sometimes they act as neurotransmitters. And they can technically be used as a source of energy, though this is a secondary energy path. This is only if you're like not eating any fats and any carbs in your body, just like, you know, it needs to get energy from somewhere. So it can get energy from breaking down protein through a process that's called glucogenesis, I believe. And if your body does break down protein for energy, its energy density is 4 calories per gram. That's about it for this lesson, and we'll move on to the next.